Okay, so we're still on angles, and now we're going to talk about angles within parallel lines and how to specifically use the coordinate plane to figure out if two lines are parallel. So first off, what you're going to be able to do by the end is you're going to be able to find the slope of two parallel lines and two perpendicular lines on the coordinate plane to write the equation of their lines and to prove if those lines are perpendicular or if they're parallel. So let's hit some vocab first. Now, the slope of parallel lines. So what two formulas have you used so far in the coordinate plane? You've used both the distance formula and the midpoint formula. Now we're going to go back to algebra and figure out and remember the slope formula, which is rise over run. And our slope, the formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 divided by x1. Okay. So slope of parallel lines. Now it says finding the slope of a line. Find the slope of the line that passes through the points 0, 6, and 5 and 2. So let's kind of zoom in here. So if you can see here, the first line here is the point is at 0, 6. The second line here is at 5, 2. So it says find the slope of the line that passes through these points. And here is our line right here. So xy, x1 and y1. So let's just pick some points. So 0, 6. 0, 6 is our x1 and y1, and 5, 2 is going to be our x2 and y2. So our slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 here is 2. So 2 minus 6 and 5 minus 0. So 2 minus 6 is negative 4, and 5 minus 0 is 5. So your slope of this line is a negative 4 over 5. So we know how to find the slope of a line. Now let's figure out how do we use that to then find the slope of two lines and then figure out if those two lines are parallel. So here we go. It says in a coordinate plane, two lines are parallel if they have the same slope. So if the two slopes of these two lines, K1 and K2, are the same, that means that those two lines are parallel. So horizontal lines are parallel if both slopes are equal to 0. So m1 is 0 and m2 is 0. So here we go. Let's go over here to example number 2. It says deciding whether lines are parallel. Find the slope of each line. So line J2 here and J1 here and figure out if those two lines are parallel. But we got to figure out what their slopes are first. And remember, if their slopes both are the same, that means they're parallel. So the slope of M1 is 4 over 2. So it means it's 4 over 2 is 2. Okay? And then line J2, the slope is 2 over 1, which is also 2. So we can say that, yes, both of these lines are parallel because the slopes are equal. They're both 2. Let's look over here at example number 3. It says identifying parallel lines. Now, it says find the slope of each line. Which lines are parallel? So here we've got 3 lines, and we need to find the slope of each of these lines to figure out which lines are actually parallel. And as you can see in the diagram, it looks like both of these are parallel if you just look at them. But in fact, some of them are not parallel to each other. So that's why we can't just look at a diagram and see if it's parallel. So the slope of K1 tells us is a negative 3. Now, the 2 points are 0, 6, and 2, 0. So we did 0 minus 2, or I'm sorry, 0 minus, so 0 minus, or 2 minus 0 divided by 0 minus 6. And we got negative 6 over 2, which is a negative 3. So the slope of K1 is a negative 3. Now the slope of K2, which is here, our 2 points are negative 2, 6, and 0, 1. So y2 is 1, so 1 minus 6 over 0 minus a negative 2. So 1 minus 6 is a negative 5, and 0 minus a negative 2. Two negatives make this a positive, so it's a positive 2. So the slope of K2 is negative 5 halves. And then finally, we've got line 3 here, which is K3. Our 2 points are negative 6, 5, and negative 4, 0. So again, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 0 minus 5 divided by a negative 4 minus a negative 6. So two positives make a negative. So 0 minus 5 is a negative 5, and then we've got a positive 2 on the bottom, which is a negative 5 halves. So K1 and K2 are not parallel because their slopes are not equal to each other. Slope of K1 is negative 3, and the slope of K2 is a negative 5 halves. Those aren't equal. So K1 is not equal to K2. Let's see about K1 and K3. Now K1 slope is a negative 3, K3 slope is a negative 5 halves. Again, those slopes are not equal. Therefore, K1 and line K3 are not parallel to each other. Let's look at K2 and K3. Now K2 slope is a negative 5 halves and K3 slope is a negative 5 halves. Therefore, we can say that K2 and line K3 are parallel to each other because both of their slopes are equal. Now, let's go down to writing equations of parallel lines. Now, the equation of a parallel line is y equals mx plus b. Now, m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So let's figure out, how do we write the equation? So example number 4 says writing an equation of a line. So it says write an equation of the line through the point 2, 3, and it has a slope of 5. So first we need to actually solve for b. So let's write out our slope-intercept form. Our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Now we know our x and y because x is 2 and y is 3. So let's just go ahead and plug in. So 3 for y equals, we know our slope, which is 5, so 5 times x, which is 2, plus b. So 3 equals 10 plus b. So we're going to subtract 10 from both sides, subtract 10, and 3 minus 10 is a negative 7. So our b is a negative 7. So now we have everything we need to write our equation. Now again, remember our equation is y equals mx plus b. So we can go ahead and write this. Y equals 5x minus 7 because we knew our m, which is 5, x plus b. We solved for b, which is a negative 7. So over here, we've got example number 5. It says writing an equation of a parallel line. So line N1 has the equation y equals a negative 1/3 x minus 1. Now line N2 is parallel to line N1 and passes through points 3, 2. So write an equation. Now, if N2 is parallel to N1, we know that the slope of N2 has to be a negative 1/3 because both of those lines are parallel, which means that their slopes are the same. So let's write our equation. Our equation is y equals mx plus b. Now, again, it gave us these 2 points, 3 and 2, and we know our slope, m equals a negative 1/3. So let's plug in. Our y is 2, so 2 equals, our slope is a negative 1/3. Our x is 3 plus b. So 2 equals, now a negative 1/3 times 3 over 1 is a negative 1 plus b. We add 1 to both sides and we get 3 equals b. So we can now write our equation. Y equals a negative 1/3 x, again our slope is a negative 1/3, plus 3, b we already solved for. Okay, so go ahead now and do example number 6 on your own.